Hey, I'm Nixie Pixel, and I'm here to talk about nerdy stuff that will tickle your neurotransmitters. Oh, wait, I can't say that, because I'm about to say it on my podcast that you are about to watch. Podcast Vodcast. I've been told that it is a vodcast by the sheer virtue of the fact that it is a video cast. So, I'm trying to mix things up a bit. If you're looking for Linux videos, you should check out the privacy panel that I did. Hold your government accountable, protect cryptography, protect whistleblowers, make internet a public utility for crying out loud, and if all else fails, let's roll our own internet, because, Comcast and Charter and AT&T would let us do that, right?
It's just a prank, bro.
Yeah.
Well, you should be happy because that prank could have ended up in an entirely different way where you hear like the sirens go off and everyone's being evacuated to some like other like gymnasium.
Are you
outside
speaking
of
from
school or
experience?
whatever. No. No. I also did a little collab with Switch to Linux at the same time. That's all happening on my proper Linux channel. Now, in case I wasn't abundantly clear with the kind of emotional, did I quit Linux rant on this channel, I did not. It's on another channel. And the OGs, the old school folks who watched me, will know that I used to do a series way back when called Geek Buzz. We hope to do it at least twice a month. And yeah, I'll let you guys know about some other content that's coming. We're gonna kick off some like hardware stuff, some D&D stuff, just basically reclaiming this channel as the nerdy hub that it is, and then let all the Linux people go to the Linux and Privacy channel. Give a thumbs up if you're cool with the authentic, like, fully rounded Nixie that was never just a, like, mouthpiece for Linux, but also still likes and runs Linux, like that NAS over there that you can't see because microphone. That's running Arch. Okay, enough of my rant. Let's get to it then. The race for 5G is on, what Google Stadia's slow death means for game streaming, and some games that took far too long to get good. All this and more on the GeekBeacon broadcast. Welcome to GeekBeacon Broadcast, where we talk about nerdy stuff that tickles your neurotransmitters every fifth Wednesday. I'm your host, Nixie Pixel, and I'm joined by Conquero.
Hello.
Sika Player.
Hello.
And the Holler, the potato.
Hello.
All right. So, how's everybody doing today? This is like our inaugural episode. Nervous.
I'm good.
Inaugural. Is that the first? Does that mean like the first ever episode? Because I did do an episode, years ago that you guys could check out if you wanted to know my disappearing act and going to China and whatnot. These guys will tell you that I'm like not the most prolific anime watcher. But Avatar: The Last Airbender, like the original series, huh? What?
It's not anime, I'm pretty sure.
What?
I don't think it's labeled as anime.
But it was made by a Japanese company, wasn't it? Anyway, it's my favorite ever series, and I'm not sure if you guys throw dice or if you've ever played D&D, but they're getting a tabletop series, which is super exciting. Yeah, so people have been asking for a video game over and over again, but they're like, we're going to do one better, well, depending on who you are. Have you guys played D&D?
I've never. No.
Nope.
Yeah, so basically, like, they have a whole book that they're working on. So, like, they have a Dungeoneer handbook and stuff like that, and it's super nerdy. Yeah, I did not like the sequel to the last.
Also, not an anime. Just looked it up. It is considered a cartoon.
What's the difference? Is if it comes from Japan or not?
Honestly, me being like an avid quote-unquote anime watcher, as she has termed it, like, there's really no difference. Anime means animation, but people seem to fight about cartoons versus anime, but whatever.
Yeah. It's coming out of Netflix, which is so many original Netflix properties now since the the virus that shall not be named for fear of, like, I don't know, weird censorship across the platforms, for which we are on all the platforms, by the way. And if you're hearing this from like just in audio form, we actually have a video form if you want to see our ugly mugs. You can find that on YouTube and Google GeekBeacon broadcast, because we're not exactly sure where that's going to show up yet. But yeah, so
We're professionals.
Professionals. Yeah, so for some like D&D related humor, one company to botch their role in Roll a One would be Google Stadia and their Stadia project. I was always on the fence about this one, but apparently they are meeting their untimely demise, which I think we all knew was in the cards.
Yeah, I saw the announcement, and basically, Phil Harrison, he basically said that they were going to try to focus more on bringing in game studios to work on the actual technical side of Stadia, and that's what they're focused on. So they were pretty much just going to close down their game studio. So I believe around 150 employees are now looking for work. So,
well, not looking for work. It said that they moved some to other parts of Google and some left.
Yeah.
But I know, like,
that's what I would say if I was like doing layoffs.
Yeah.
They're not really gone. We've moved them. Winky, I'm winking, I guess.
But basically, they're going to take their like equipment, their Stadia hardware, or whatever you want to call it, and like just outsource it basically to third parties, and I guess hope that they create Stadia exclusives, which they're not going to do. Let's be real. Like, if you're a developer, you don't want to make exclusives. You want to have it be as many platforms as you can.
Yeah.
I think
there's like a partnership, of course.
Yeah, I think a lot of developers get kind of like cornered into doing exclusives though, for the sheer virtue of like money, money, money.
Especially indie developers, because they got to get that exposure because they're, making a name for themselves. That's
kind of like, but I'm trying to think of like the whole streaming service as a whole, because I'm trying to remember the initial. I used to go to conferences nonstop, and one of the biggest names that I can't think of right now. Gamefly did a streaming service, but it was something else. Yeah.
I think as a whole, though, streaming services are going to be very hard pressed to get anything up and going until the internet in the nation gets better.
Gaming wise, for sure.
Yeah.
I've always said, like, Stadia was first announced that it was going to be like stream your games and no download needed. My first thought is like, it's not really viable right now until like it becomes normal to have fiber in like everybody's household. It's not really viable, because by that time we'll have something better than fiber, I'm sure.
Even just the like, I think there is a chance though, because people are less and less interested in making their customs like gaming PCs, as I've also struggled with my own, but I've noticed there's like that line that's blurring between the console and PC wars, where it's like a lot of the PS5 specs are very, like, I've talked to people and they've said, I don't want to pick up, like, I don't want to have a PC because the PS5 is just going to be as good and it's going to cost me less money. You know what I mean? So I think that there's a market in general for like this new technology, but like I remember now the company is called OnLive. They came out 10 years ago.
Yeah, wow, that's
and they were like, yeah, and it sucks so much for them in a way, because they had the right product idea, but it was such the wrong time.
Too early, way too early for that. They were.
Reminds me of like the Virtual Boy when they tried VR in the 90s.
Nintendo. Oh yeah. Or like, and every consecutive year I went to the consumer. Power Glove. Yeah, Power Glove, and then also like all the 3D or VR or AR headsets that you can watch on your television. Like they always said, "Oh, it's the year of 3D TV," and it's like nobody's putting on a headset to watch television. Like they just don't care.
The whole point of television is to sit down and be lazy. You don't want to have to sit down and have to do stuff to be lazy.
It's a huge marketing gimmick. It really was.
Yeah, oh, definitely for 3D. I mean, we had a Samsung 3D TV. It was cool for like one movie, and then after a while, you're like, oh, I got to keep putting on glasses just to wear watch a movie, and then it just kind of got old. So, but the thing,
Yeah.
the thing with cloud gaming, I think there's definitely a future for it, and I love the idea of Stadia. I just think they went about it the wrong way, because I think what happened is when they announced, hey, we're going to be doing cloud gaming, everyone got really excited because they thought, oh my God, they're going to be the Netflix of gaming. You're going to pay like $9.99, $15.99, whatever, and you're going to be able to play all the games you've ever your heart's desired. And then they're like, oh, no, that's not how it works. So you got to buy the game first, then you can play it on our.
They have to fix that. They have to, because think of all the subscription-based models that you go for now for gaming. Like, I know, Seek, I know you do Game Pass.
Yeah, Game Pass Unlimited.
I think I did Gamefly back in the day. Is Gamefly even around still?
Yes.
Console subscriptions. There's also the Battle Pass is a big thing that's in games these days that costs like $10, $20 here and there.
And then not to mention, like, the individual game has subscriptions that we'll get into when we talk about games that have gotten good. Fallout. But yeah, like, it's crazy to think that and the games aren't cheap, dude. Like, the Stadia games are expensive.
Yeah,
like they're not even discounted. Yeah.
That's one thing that like we need to, like, the gaming industry needs to work on is like stop having, just because it's digital doesn't mean you can pay or you like require full price anymore. We need to start like discounting along with like the physical games, because you look at some games that are like 7 years old and you look on Steam and it's still full price when it was released. Like,
Rust.
why?
Rust is a bad one for that.
Or like anything on console stores are always full price. They never go down unless it's a sale or a discount.
I remember I would. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. What I was going to say is I think that's where Xbox kind of went in the right direction. So here's what Xbox did. They were like, okay, guys, you're going to pay us either $4.99 a month, and that will give you access to this unlimited library of games that we have on our program for $5 a month, or 10. I think it's 10 now. You can install the software, download the games, and play, which is great. Then they have the Xbox Pass Unlimited. So that says, okay, now if you own a console, a PC, no matter what, even a mobile phone, now you'll get to download all those games on that devices. But if you own a mobile device, you can now use xCloud, which is basically like Stadia. It's one click launching the game, but all you're playing is those Xbox games, and you're not buying the games. You get to play the entire library. And that's why we've all had so much fun as of late playing different games, because it's like, hey guys, let's play what was that one game, the Astromeer or whatever? It was like, boom, download it, try it out. Oh, I don't like it. Then you uninstall it. But I didn't pay like $50 for it. You know?
Right.
Exactly. I think that's where it like shines the most. Like those subscriptions for gaming services, they shine
the people
the most
that are commitment phobes,
or people like me that can beat a game in like 1 or 2 sittings. It's like, do I really want to pay $60 for like one small experience? Not really.
I wonder if people like abuse the Steam's generous return policy.
Oh, I'm sure
if people
they do.
like try, because that was the alternative to what Seek was talking about. We used to go, hey, let's play Sea of Thieves. And so we initially got Sea of Thieves on Steam, and then we realized like it was on Game Pass, so we went that route. But like theoretically, we on Steam you can play the game for what, 2 hours?
Up to 2 hours,
Up to 2 hours. And some games we played that were just absolute trash. I'm trying to remember. Oh, like that one that was trying to be Friday the 13th. You liked Raft.
I do like Raft.
Yeah. It's hard to get into.
I don't remember what it was. That giant rat monster.
Yeah. Living Alive, something alive.
Inside? No, it's not Inside.
It was one where when you died, you play as a little mouse and you go squeak, squeak.
Yeah, in silence. Yeah.
In silence, yes.
Yeah. We didn't just come up with a moment of clarity. That was our producer, Bermain, in the background. Thank you. Our Jamie to do a throwback to Rogan podcast, because but I actually, to your point, Conqueror, about like making the digital copies be similar to like the physical copies as far as price, because I remember going to Best Buy, and I would always go to the PC section, which over the years got so small. Like it was like you had tons of games, tons of selection. It was like a third of the media section of the store. And
PC's
then I
like
remember
all digital now.
Yeah, it's like
It's a
all
game.
digital. It even you even like go in there and you can get like little slips of paper. But back in the day, the bigger the box, the like, the more like, so the encyclopedias, for instance, would be huge boxes, and it would just try to like take up as much store real estate. And I know, like, I would go there and I'd be like, oh man, I really want to buy my favorite game, Grim Fandango, for $60. And I did. But if I had waited just like 3 months, like clockwork, goes down like 25%. And in a year, it's like almost 50% reduced. So it's just kind of like, maybe that's what the developers are like. Yay, we don't have to do that crap anymore,
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's very true. And I don't know. I just think look how much tech has like changed in just 1 year or two, even. So imagine what we're going to see in like another 2 to 5 years.
I just looked this up. Black Ops 1 is still $40 on Steam.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yep.
What is it like? Just off the street value.
That doesn't include any DLCs.
Nope.
Yep.
Wow.
So check out Modern Warfare 3, $39.99 right now. Modern Warfare 3, what, 2011? I want to say. I think
that's what I mean.
Like, Black Ops was not far behind.
Yeah. So
maybe they have maybe it's like all algorithmic now. Like they know that the Rust players will pay that because they have the data. So there's literally no reason that they would ever discount it.
Black Ops came out in 2010, and they even stopped the servers for it. And yet they're still charging.
So how
for the single player?
So is it like
single player or local LAN?
Yeah.
What?
Well, no, I did download it yesterday. When you said you downloaded it, I actually did download it, and there was a 24/7 Nuketown, $39.99 right there.
Or you could pay $1,000 for the whole franchise.
Oh,
10% off.
Look at that.
Oh boy.
Does that include the remaster of MW2? Oh, no, it's Blizzard. That's right. Yeah, then they split off, or Blizzard or Activision, or join up with Blizzard. So now, if you want to play the new games, you can't buy your games on Steam anymore. Now you got to go right to Blizzard to buy your game, which is crazy. So game developers are doing that now. They're like, oh, well, we don't want to actually pay anyone, so we're just gonna sell it on our platform, and then we'll keep all the profits, so we don't have to pay a middle person.
Yeah, which then you have to sacrifice the, exposure and discoverability. So if you're not riding on like a huge fan base like Call of Duty or the Battlefield series, this and that, then you just have to like hope upon hope that people are gonna find your product. Like maybe Stardew, right, which was made by one single guy. I'm not sure if that's the same to like now. Maybe he could release his his Stardew 2 like on his own website. That might have enough fan base. But I think that these developers that are just starting out, like they really have to choose a platform,
Yeah, that's fair.
But to Holler's point about like the technology is getting better and better, the internet is theoretically getting better and better.
Theoretically.
Like speaking of giant corporations and monoliths like Google, AT&T just forced a 100-year lease to get 5G action in our country. We always keep hearing about 5G, but it's like, I don't know. I just like, we have phones that are 5G enabled. I don't know if you guys have one in your pockets right now, but so like 100-year lease. So rather than selling them the towers, basically this company, rather than selling them the towers, they did a 100-year lease, which is genius, and something that is totally like predictable for ISPs, is because like they want to lock you in, and they're like the kings of like locking you in ad infinitum. So I don't know, like a $93 million lease. How do they even calculate that, right? Like, well, by our estimation, if you want to dominate the 5G network across in the US, like we're going to charge you like almost $1 trillion.
Well, I do know, since I have AT&T myself, they are actually charging extra for you to be on the 5G towers.
Are you serious? It's not included in your,
And that's how they get their money back.
Wow. Isn't it crazy how much phones bills, even the phone devices, like that's a whole nother conversation, but like even the bills alone have skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Luckily, the phones are starting to come back down. You see more and more people go
no,
back down
no,
to
they're
mid-tier
not.
software.
I don't know, man. This didn't come back down. This was really
That's
like,
your problem right
it
there.
boggles my mind that this was like a lot. You know what I mean? Like phones used to be what, like $300-400 at max, and now
If
they're
that.
about. This is like close to what a little tablet cost, like a
Okay.
an iPad or
Let's
whatever.
take the Note
A
9 for
laptop.
example
Okay.
versus the Note 10. The Note 9 has better specs than the Note 10. Also, it's the same way with Google's phone as well. The specs are actually getting worse, but the specs are so good that no one's able to tell one versus the other model anymore. So they're
Right.
starting to bring it back down to lower the price.
That's what I kind of think with like 5G. Like, is there really going to be a difference?
5G, you can notice a difference.
In my experience, yes, because the same place that I got my now banned Huawei phone in Taiwan, I could run. That was when I first discovered PUBG Mobile, and it would load in like basically it's almost like fiber, the same level. Like I think it was 200 megabyte, 200 up and 200 down or something like that. It was blazingly fast. Like I updated everything with no issues on 5G, and it cost like pretty much no money at all. Like I think it was $10 for the month or something like that. It was just yeah. So it's kind of weird how we aren't leading in the United States. We aren't leading at all as far as like pricing for our internet, as far as technology for our internet. I think it's like a misnomer. People always like, oh, we're in the United States. We have the best technology and like the most.
We're far behind.
No,
we have the most access to technology. Yes,
I wonder,
but as for
like
the cost.
Because wasn't it like years, like even like 5-6 years ago, the UK had like gigabit internet before it was even a thought on like our minds about it. Because I remember reading a story. I mean, this was like years ago, and it says, "Oh, they're getting like 2 gigabytes per second download speeds in the little town in the UK," and I'm like, "Whoa, that's crazy speed! I can't imagine that kind of speed." And now,
the farm I grew up on. 2 years ago just got off dial-up.
Yeah, and that's the thing that like when I first started in the tech sector, they explained to me how like some people still only use internet on the weekends. And I was just like, what? You know?
How do you live in this world without internet these days?
Yeah,
go outside,
don't know.
So
you can't go outside now.
Oh, well, yeah, sorry,
no. You just get the
here's an interesting
Starlink
thing.
and just shove it out the window.
No.
I sent something to Bermain to maybe pull up because it talks about. It's funny that it actually lists Taiwan as number 1 in the world. Yep. But that's really, really interesting. We are so far down the line there, but Taiwan, you basically blinked and everything was fast. Yeah, if you scroll down a little bit, it does the like top 15. So for those who aren't watching us, it goes like Taiwan, Singapore, Jersey, Sweden, Denmark, Japan.
I'm surprised Japan isn't higher, to be honest.
You're surprised what?
Japan isn't higher. I'm surprised they're
Japan
number 6.
has too much people per whatever you want to land mass unit, so it's actually harder for them.
They can sleep on the electric lines. It'll be fine.
They also don't have to innovate as much. Like when I visited Japan, they had basically their Comcast, which is like SoftBank. And they basically just upgraded per the pace of whatever they felt like in a similar way to Comcast. Yemen is the very last one.
We are better than Canada.
Blame Canada. Blame Canada. Yeah, those are all like little islands. I'd be interested to know if all of them are on dial-up or if they just straight up don't have any internet.
Satellite?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, satellite. Yeah.
Well, you can't really say satellite anymore because of Starlink. Starlink has a 500 megabyte upload and download.
The good satellite or the bad satellite.
Exactly.
And they are trying to push the gigabit, right? Speed at some point. So I think Elon Musk will pull that off. It's going to be amazing. Could you imagine? And I hope they put the tech inside of these phones so we don't have to pay companies like AT&T, Verizon. Imagine having a cell phone where you pay like a certain amount a month and you get your data right from a satellite that's always connected to your phone. So no matter where you are in the world, you'll always have internet right.
Until you go indoors.
When you go indoors, you continue using the same provider you're already paying for your cell phone for right at home. So that way you're paying one company for your mobile and your cell phone, and you're getting a good value for it. I think that
Starlink hires Sika Player. Link in the description. I think that since we're talking about massive improvements, theoretically, fingers crossed, with different technologies, should we talk about games that were basically terrible at the beginning and now have gotten exponentially better?
Sure. Big Fallout fans may not be too interested in the newest addition to the series, Fallout 76, because it was, to put it nicely, utter garbage at release. Nixie and her best friend buddy guy that was on the last episode, they borderline tied me up and forced me to get the game to because I'm not a fan of Fallout in general, but they made me get it to play the beta with them, and the only way to get the beta was to pre-order because game companies love to tie you into that stuff. And I honestly never played it like when it released because the beta was just so bad. I knew it wasn't going to go well. But in all honesty, you look at it now and they've improved so much to where it's actually like a really enjoyable game. It's still Bethesda, so they still got the bugs and an occasional crash here and there, but they have improved quite a lot. If you haven't played it in the past like year and a half, if you haven't played it since launch, you should definitely revisit it because they've added NPCs, which was a big complaint. It wasn't Fallout because there were no NPCs to make choices with, only robots. And now they have I know the stash limit was very, very small when it first released, and now I think they've upped it twice, two or three times since release. Which
they're listening to the feedback, I think, is just like the general. It's another really interesting turn in technology where developers actually listen to the feedback. Because I also remember around the same time when I picked up like the games physically in Best Buy, like they just released the game. There was no day 0, day 1 patch. There was no like seasons, which is another thing that
old Zelda Ocarina of Time. Love it for all of its glitches.
Yeah, so like it's pretty promising to think that like that's something that's happening, Yeah.
There's a lot of games that don't even make it to a point where they can get a second chance. So like the fact that this and another one that we recently have explored, No Man's Sky, it was a bust upon release as well, but
that
now
was
it's
a huge bust.
Yeah,
I've never seen something get downvoted or disgraced so much. Even with the Cyberpunk disaster, that has touched nothing on No Man's Sky.
What were they freaking out about No Man's Sky for? Because I only played it.
It had none of the promised features basically when they first released it.
And all the worlds looked the same.
Yeah, it was completely different than it is now. Like it was to the point where I remember the Video Game Awards that year when it released, the development team, Hello Games, I think it is, they literally left to go eat during the ceremony, and they won an award and didn't know it because they left.
Oh, wow.
Because they didn't expect to get anything because they knew their game just
had a lot of backlash.
And their reasoning behind the failed launch, not to out them, but I read that they just said it was a niche genre and they didn't think it would get as popular as it did, which doesn't excuse the fact that they promised features and didn't deliver on them. But
I just got some trauma about like how that basically sums up me and all of the last 7 years of me doing like nothing but Linux videos, where it's just like, I was like, it's a niche genre. I want to talk about something else. I didn't expect it to be as popular as it was. Please let me out of Linux. Please like this podcast. Please vote up and down and make sure to subscribe to this podcast. wherever wherever you get your podcasts.
Nixie's more
every
than just
fifth Wednesday.
Linux. I promised.
Please
She's
love on this
entertaining
podcast a
in
little
other
bit.
ways.
Yeah.
Along with Seek and Holler. Holler likes potatoes, as you can see. And Seek is
Oh my
Seek,
god.
Best
Seek,
birthday present ever, maybe? I don't know.
Potato.
Seek's a good coder. He surpassed me. I remember teaching you JavaScript, and now you can like.
Didn't he always
Dang.
surpass
you
you?
No, I was teaching him basics.
Yeah.
Like way back when you first started streaming it on
I'm
Twitch.
still learning. No, I still have much to learn. You know, like how
you're way
to.
past me with JavaScript for sure. And I have a degree. That's saying a lot.
Aw.
I know how to print "Hello World." Does that count?
Hey, that's how you get started.
On C#.
Perfect.
Hey,
At least it's not like Ruby or something.
I started on
Ooh.
C#, so
I've never
Nah.
coded on Ruby. Oh, that's definitely another conversation though, because there's so many different languages we could go
Yeah,
through.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's for the next podcast.
Yeah.
So basically what we were getting at is if you haven't tried Fallout 76 or No Man's Sky recently, you definitely should. Because it's a lot different, and they're probably really cheap. Well, not. I don't know. Does No Man's Sky have a physical?
Cyberpunk, for instance, is $32 right now because
it
they're
really?
like, please buy our game. Yeah,
Wait, it really
Hey,
is?
hey,
I've never seen a game in the history of games that just discounts it like
Yeah,
a
that
couple
quick.
months from
Yeah.
release.
No Man's Sky did that.
Yeah,
They did.
yeah,
So
because they
here,
knew it bombed, so they're like, we got to do something.
so here's the thing right now with Xbox Game Pass, you can get No Man's Sky and Fallout 76 included in your subscription. So there you
Exactly.
go. See, that's another
Wow.
benefit
Not
right
sponsored
there.
by Xbox.
No, we're
by the way.
not. But I'm saying that, but that is a benefit of why I love the subscription type services like Xbox or anybody offers, is because now you can try those games out again, and if they suck still, you didn't pay $60 for it. You know what I
Yeah.
Which
mean?
they don't.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Which is what you're trying to say. Well, that's also really interesting to see what type of people will give a game another chance, right? Because I tried to get my buddy Zaku to play Sea of Thieves. I also need enough time to play Sea of Thieves. It's neither here nor there. But basically, Sea of Thieves was like a buccaneering, like pirate type game where you captain a pirate ship with all your buddies, and you can. And apparently, it was horrible at the beginning.
Oh, it was so bad.
And so now you have to have this weird conversation with all of your gamer friends, like, no, it's good now. Like, it's okay.
That's how
It'll
I
be
feel with
fine.
Fallout. Because I play Fallout daily.
Yeah. And I think that it also, like, what type of person are you, right? Like, are you the type of person that likes to log in for all the daily challenges, or do you don't care at all? Because I don't care about I'm not an achievement hoe.
To an extent. I mean, it depends on the game. If I really like the game, I will definitely aim for 100% just to get the most out of it because I want to experience the whole game because I like it. Nier Automata, for example. I spent so much time 100%ing that, but it was worth it. I wish I could like get amnesia and forget the whole story and replay it. It's such a good game.
Damn.
But-
Wishing amnesia upon yourself so you can play a game is pretty dedicated.
Yeah.
I'm in the midst of completing every single quest in Cyberpunk before the end.
Yeah, like what if you accidentally like hit main story and you don't even realize it, and then like
Oh, it actually tells you
finish.
the journeys.
Yeah.
oh
that's it.
okay, yeah, I
That's,
haven't
like,
even gotten that far.
It's pretty common these days in games. They'll let you know before it's like you can't turn back.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel really bad for the developers of Cyberpunk because I think we all watched that the CEO kind of give his apology statement where it was like, please don't bash the developers of our game. It was our decision, right?
Yeah.
To
I
release
give
the
them
game.
props for that.
Can you imagine like working and crunching and sleeping at night, like in the studio to get the game done, and then like the higher ups and the marketing people, and you're telling them like it's not done yet. It's like the technical versus marketing people. You're like it's not done yet, and they're like, well, it doesn't matter. We need to get it out before Christmas. It's like it's going to bomb, and it's like the biggest. I told you so, you know?
Yeah. I think this is the first game that ever got taken off of console marketplaces.
I've never heard of
it either. Yeah.
Like that's
and it's a powerful
ouch.
statement. Yeah, absolutely. Like it's a powerful statement also for Sony, like for Sony.
I think, honestly, like I'm hoping that it will kind of change the industry standard of releasing games that they know are broken. I like because that just sucks. Like, especially if you pre-order and you're looking forward to the game, and then it comes out, and day one you're like, "Oh yes, I can finally play my favorite game," and then, bam, you find a crash that corrupts your whole save that you just spent 10 hours on, or something like that.
How are you reading my mind for what happened to me the last time I played Cyberpunk? And they own it too. It's like save corrupted.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's the worst feeling. That's what they call a category A bug. So like A bugs are like the most severe if they actually affect your saves and like your progress in the game. And then you have your other like category B bugs. So like for Cyberpunk, A was like the corrupted saves, and A was also like the fact that they did this brain dance. This isn't giving anything away, but they basically did there's a part of the game where it does strobe effects. Doesn't need to be in there. You don't need to cause anybody to have seizures. And so they like revise that really quickly, but yeah.
Speaking of which, what other games are you guys playing here lately? Anything else you guys are into recently, aside from Cyberpunk?
It's like Holler chronically playing Rust forever and finally got us into giving it a shot.
He jumps between Rust, No Man's Sky, and Cyberpunk.
What do you like about Rust? Is what I want to know.
The PvP aspect.
I hate that.
So that's why you were like super like low key not satisfied when we rolled our own server. Thanks, Linode.
Exactly. I love the PvP and I love the grinding.
Yeah.
Also, Gunfire Reborn is a game
that's been fun. Yeah.
Yes, that has been fun.
We've all played that and all enjoyed it, and that's an indie game, so that's a good like insight on how indie developers can actually like grow and prosper.
I still need somebody to explain to me what Gunfire Seek. Are you up for the task to explain what I've played it, but I still don't understand it, and I hate the fact that I have to start over every time.
It's a roguelike. So it's permadeath, but the whole concept of it is you proceed further, you get further and further and further each time.
Yeah.
And each like over time you unlock new features, new weapons, sometimes new skin. Think of like Binding of Isaac, how pretty much the whole concept is learning the enemy's movements and learning their patterns so you can be better at dodging. It's the same concept with this. You have to play it over and over and over to get used to the enemy AI and figure out how to avoid damage.
Yeah.
Also, as you go further and further along, it gets easier because you're able to level up your character, which does stay with you.
Yes.
That part is good.
Yeah. But doesn't the gameplay get boring for you guys because of that?
No.
It's not varied enough, is it?
Like, it took me forever to be able to unlock a sword. I mean...
Yeah.
So...
The final boss is no joke either.
No.
You went to the final boss?
Yeah, Holler has to.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It beat me so fast.
Yep.
I just played the first, like, the fact that I was so excited because we get to play through the first phase and then we finally beat the boss. And I was like, well, cool, because now when we die, we'll go back to the, second level. And it's like, no, we start from the beginning. And
but the thing is, once you beat the first boss, you unlock new stuff that'll help you defeat him easier the next time.
I think it's a personality type. Go ahead, Seek.
I like kind of agree with you because it reminds me of battle royales. You know, where you wait like a ton of time, you get in there, and then 10 seconds later you die, and then you have to start all over again. So I get that that part. It's like, oh great, I got to start over. It's kind of like, remember back in the day when you play a video game and you kept dying, and you had to keep starting back over at the level, and you can't make it past that one.
The Lion King on Sega.
Maybe it's that. Maybe it's just harkening back.
Yeah, it's that subconscious, like,
it's the grind.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah, you gotta like grinding, definitely.
I do not like. I don't know if you guys remember, but like a couple years ago, I tried to get everybody to play WoW, and I literally was just falling asleep because it was just like, I was like, oh, this is so beautiful, and then wait, we have to kill the same thing over and over again.
I tried
so many times. I definitely have the grinder mentality. I've beat Borderlands to all of them countless times. Like I can't even recall how many times I beat them anymore. And it was to the point where I was replaying Borderlands 2 and like challenging myself to go through and like not continue the story until I get the legendary drop from every boss. And that's just ridiculous. But it was fun for me.
I think that like you and Holler have similar mindsets. I feel like Seek and I are the types that are like subscription services are made for us. We're going to like play a game, and if we don't like it immediately, I cannot tell you the last time I finished a game.
Yeah. Portal. I've tried
Shrug.
Portal.
I
but
finished
that's it.
Medium
Yeah.
the day after release, so
Yeah,
You
that's
did?
true.
yeah,
You
I've already
did.
beat Medium.
Yeah, and they actually like if you head over to our Discord, feel free to search for GeekBeacon Discord. We actually
Yep.
stream constantly. If we're not doing it on Twitch, we're doing it on our Discord.
Yep.
I think that's about concludes our semi-inaugural episode of GeekBeacon Broadcast.
Except everybody should check out Genshin Impact. Just saying, it's free. You have no reason not to. Great game. Totally not a Legend of Zelda ripoff or nothing. Don't worry about it.
I'm surprised you're even
We
here.
are not
'cause
sponsored.
Yeah.
We're not sponsored at all.
Not sponsored by miHoYo, but that'd be cool. Just saying.
I'm surprised that Conqueror is even here because that was Genshin has a very like they had an update today, I think it is.
Oh yeah.
It's not. They didn't start all the events just yet, so
Yeah.
I've already did pretty much everything that I can do right now.
Okay, so yeah, that about wraps it up for this semi-inaugural episode of the GeekBeacon broadcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we'd love for you to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, and we will talk nerdy to you later.
Bye.
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 As I'm sure you know by the human malware that's been going around the entire world, life is too short to not post content that you're passionate about. And so you get to see kind of another side of me on this channel that I used to talk about all the time when I did WTF Wednesdays, I did Geek Buzz, and a lot of the content is going to come back really in that regard. Like, I love gaming, and if you understand this t-shirt, you'll know what I mean. Let me know in the comments below what sprouting means. Another thing you should probably know is there'll be a few more people on this channel. I've always wanted for years since I kicked off GeekBeacon, which if you're wondering what GeekBeacon is...
In 2017, she created her own open source community, GeekBeacon, a fellowship of geeks that share their open source values and dedication towards social good.
I couldn't have said it better myself. That's some quality stuff over on my Linux channel / privacy channel. Another thing, this may mysteriously look kind of like a streaming setup. You have the twinkle lights, you have the stuffed animals. How stereotypic is this person that is probably on Twitch, right? A little bit, yeah. I got offered an affiliate ship and I turned him down because I want to stream on all the things. Why would I want to limit myself? So yeah, I do stream as well. And there's just a lot of stuff, and I realize that might not make me the most popular person anymore or the most niche person anymore, but I want this more than I'm afraid of it. And GeekBeacon is something that I felt to my core for 3 years now, and I'm not giving up on it, and hopefully you won't give up on me. So make sure to let me know what kind of content you want to see. One of the things that I'm doing is I played Phasmophobia like every other streamer in the Northern Hemisphere probably. The difference is I'm terrified of scary games. Here's proof. I can't. Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Yeah.
After you're done leaving a comment about the type of stuff that you would like to see, hit the little subscribe button, because my last rant was talking about how the YouTube algorithm possibly just likes Viners that have come to the platform and pushed us OG people out. And hit that bell, otherwise you don't really get notified of my videos anyway. So Discord's basically your best bet. Just go there. I will talk nerdy to you later. Bye.
Bonus round.